Top of the day to you on What's the Word Have You Heard? So excited to be journeying with you again. And our word today is a good spirit. So last time that we journeyed together, we learned about the ways of an evil spirit. And we had an example of Jezebel and what type of spirit and characteristics that she had. So that way you can determine what lies within you. Some of these things were already embedded in our spirit before we even know it because, we're taught from, our parents. They were taught from their parents, their ancestors, and so on. And then also the environment, the things that surrounds us also can teach and mold and make us to who we are today. So let's get into it. These are ways of a good spirit. What about your love? Love shows like kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. I like to say sometimes when people do me wrong, well, baby, I'm in a forgiving spirit. I'm in a forgiving business. So I forgive you. But also, too, with that, I learned how to watch out, too. So you won't try to strike and bite me, again. And then I pray for you because I know it's some spirit in you that I don't know. Every time you see me, you want to act up, but I can't let your spirit interfere with my spirit. So, yeah, we have to work on that. Pray for others because it may be that spirit in them that they don't know about that, makes them act disrespectful and ugly and nasty and say mean things to you, or about you. But, why would you bow down and allow them to make you get out of character? So just be mindful of that. Okay. What about some joy? Joy unspeakable. So joy and happiness, we learned that are two different things. Sometimes happiness comes because of a situation or a chance, and sometimes you can lose that happiness. But joy is a natural result, something that regardless of what happens or what situation is, you always is very joyful. Sometimes you hear people say that, girl, you always smiling. Boy, you always, have this joy about you. You let nothing, disturb your spirit. And they got to understand that sometimes joy is not given, but by a chance or something happened to you. It's just a joyful spirit that's within you. And that joyful spirit comes from God, So you're always at joy. But sometimes they don't see you when you be like looking crying and ugly and this and that, you know what I'm saying? Or when you're down or depressed or whatever. But when you're in front of other people, you don't have to give that by chance, joyful spirit or a happiness that don't rub off on others because you're having a bad day or something bad happened to you. You still will smile, regardless of what your world is being torn down. You still smile and you trust God to work it out for you. Because sometimes you have situations that is like beyond your control, and what could you do about it? You just have to wait patiently to try to let it work itself out. But still, even with that, and then you have also, people in the Bible always talked about like Paul, Silas, Peter. They was in jail, but they still sung songs and they still praised God, regardless of their situation. So that's where joy is. And what about a peace? I know, I don't know whether y'all like Lion King, but I like Lion King. It's like Akuma Patata. And it's just like, that means no worries. You have a peace about yourself, and then sometimes people don't like when you got a peace and they agitate it, but the evil spirit is always going to come there to test you. But make sure that you always remain with this godly, good spirit that you have. And then patience. I remember when I was impatient, baby, I was like, oh, hurry, 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 or I would not stand still for a moment. So now I'm developing my patience. Then sometimes, my patience get tested. And sometimes I fail in some of these attributes, but then I just dust it off, get back up, and try again. And what about your kindness? When people are not so kind to you, you still be kind to them. That's why I was talking about some of that forgiving business, and then you pray for people, I don't know why they just want to be ugly, but don't you be ugly with them, because right, you have that kindness, that love, that joy, that peace. You just have that goodness about you, and your goodness is like honesty and righteousness. Sometimes you just have to, be honest and tell them what you need to tell them. I don't say bad words, but I have words in place of that I may say. Like, I got this from my friend, what the fruitcake, or, I'm not about that dog water. You know what I'm saying? All right. So what about your faith? Your faith is trusting and loving and being obedience to the God spirit that's within you. The God that you believe, the God that you worship, that's your faith. That's what you put your faith in to help you and lead and guide you through your way of where you need to be. Okay. And then about gentleness, understanding the discipline. You understand and you be gentle about it. Like your parents used to say, they try to be gentle. Like, I'm disciplining you, I'm whooping you, but it's gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. So that's the, but you want to talk it out with them before the discipline comes, to tell them where they had fell short. But also you want to like make sure that they feel what you're saying. I'd always bring tears sometimes, but at the end, there's always that gentleness and that joy. And then it comes understanding, especially when you get grown and you done gave your parents, what, and now you have kids and now you're going through that same experience. So you get to go back, like say, Mom, Dad, please forgive me, because now I understand. And with all, you need to have self-control. Now, sometimes my self-controls are great, and then sometimes they're not so great. So just make sure that you just practice all these attributes and look within and see if all these attributes are found within you, because this is more of your godly, good spirit that you have in there versus the evil spirit that, and we house both. We house both because it's just a nature within us. We have two natures. We have a godly nature and a sin nature. So just understand both. And that also falls in the 10 Commandments also. And it's like doing to others as you have them to do unto you. So it starts off with, do you have a God spirit or a strange spirit that you worship? It's up to you. And the God gives you a choice to choose. Choose him, And majority of the time it's like, do we use God's name in vain? Nowadays we put God hooked up with all kinds of stuff. And our ancestors used to be afraid to even call on God's name because they knew it was very sacred and very holy. But nowadays, we put his name on anything that's not holy. So kind of be mindful of that tongue. That's your sword. You speak those words into existence and different things about that. Are you worshiping your God spirit or some other spirits? Kind of put that into perspective as you look within yourself and give yourself self-examination to find out what spirit that lies within you. And have respect for your parents. I know sometimes your parents probably didn't, you feel that don't deserve your respect, but still they're your parents. Your parents too had to experience and go through all these different challenges, I'm going to say. And sometimes they were able to overcome and be successful in their challenges. And sometimes they failed in them. So be mindful, because you have to walk in those same shoes that your parents walked in. So be respectful, even though sometimes in your eyes, they may not deserve respect. But, we were told to respect them because that way our days will be long, because we could be parents too, just like they was parents, and we might have the same experience of raising our kids just like they have raised us. So just because you was raised good, just because you raised good or bad, that don't mean that you should do others as such, because you still have to go through the same challenges. Okay, so what about killing people with your tongue, or killing people with all kinds of other, different ways of putting people to death, unaliving them? And do you steal? Do you take things that don't belong to you? Do you lie? See, all these things about your attributes and what's within you and how is that found. Are you unequally yoked, with back then, a lot of people would not marry people that are not their same kind or not their same spirit, because then you have a chance to be pulled out of your belief. Marry people that believe. That means you're equally yoked. Believe the same way that you believe. Just because they find 60, and got the biggest BBL, you know what I'm saying? Let those things not blind you and make you miss the mark of being equally yoked. Then if it belongs to your neighbor or your friend or whoever, don't covet, don't disrespect and take other people's stuff, or mess with things that don't belong to you, whether it be in marriage, whether it be, in belongings or whatever, because you don't own stuff and you don't want somebody to do something to things that you have. So try not to do it to others, because eventually a lot of people say, well, goes around, comes around, so eventually you understand, why am I struggling? But you kind of look back at some of the things that you put into place. Then you never know. It might be a test, because God would say, have you tried my servant? Because I know that they're going to really be blameless. They're going to, succeed, and they're not going to fall into the traps that the evil spirit sets out for them. Okay. So put your love in action, have mercy on others, be faithful and loyal, and learn to separate yourselves from the unholy things. Okay. So choose life and success or death and disaster. That is your choice. Peace and loving to you on this beautiful, beautiful, inspirational day, and journey on. Blessings.